Welcome back to another gentle journey through science and wonder. Here, the world slows down. Here, curiosity has no rush. And every question is a doorway into something beautiful. Tonight, we'll wander together through ideas that shimmer softly in the quiet, and through stories the universe has been telling since long before we were here to listen. I make these journeys for you, for the nights when the mind won't rest, and for the evenings when you simply want to float through knowledge as if it were a dream. If you find comfort here, if these moments feel like a friend in the stillness, please take a moment to support this little corner of calm. You can tap the like button. It lets me know you're enjoying the path we're walking together. You can share this with someone you care about, a friend who loves the stars, or a family member who falls asleep to the sound of rain on the window. You can leave a comment telling me what thoughts or feelings stayed with you tonight. Your words are like little lanterns that helps light the way for the next journey. And, of course, you can subscribe so each new chapter finds its way to you, waiting quietly for the moment you need it. Now, let's begin our story for the night. High above you, the air is not still. It is a vast ocean, invisible and alive. Currents flow like rivers, carrying whispers from distant lands. Each breath you take has already traveled the world, kissed by mountains and seas. Tonight, you drift within this great, unseen fabric. You lie still, and the world feels quiet. But above you, all around you, something is always moving. The air, the thing you breathe without thought, is never at rest. It wraps around the earth like a great invisible ocean. You live within it the way a fish lives in water, immersed, supported, carried by its constant motion. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this ocean of air. Not empty, not still, but a shifting, flowing body that touches everything. It presses gently against your skin, flows into your lungs, moves through your hair. It is the unseen river you live inside every moment of your life. You can't cup it in your hands, yet it is always there, shaping the way you feel and the way the world looks. In this ocean, there are currents, great streams of air that travel thousands of kilometers. They are like rivers, but without banks, flowing not through valleys, but across the whole sky. They twist and weave, moving heat, carrying moisture, spreading the scents of forests and seas from one corner of the planet to another. The air that surrounds you now may have brushed the peaks of the Himalayas, or glided over the open Pacific, or passed through the narrow streets of a faraway city. Every breath you take is part of this endless circulation. The molecules that enter your lungs tonight may once have been exhaled by a whale surfacing in cold Antarctic waters. They may have risen from the deep green of a rainforest leaf at dawn. They may have been swept up in the warm breath of a desert wind. Air has no borders. It is the most democratic traveler on Earth. In the lower layers of the atmosphere, what scientists call the troposphere, these invisible threads are busiest. Here, weather is born. Here, warm air rises and cool air sinks. Here, pockets of moisture condense into clouds or vanish into clear skies. Imagine this layer as the skin of the Earth's atmosphere, only about 10 to 15 kilometers thick. Yet it contains nearly all the air you breathe and all the weather you know. Above it, the air grows thinner, quieter, and colder. But down here, life stirs constantly. You might think of the atmosphere as empty space above you, but it is more like a finely woven fabric. Each thread is a current, each knot a swirling eddy. Some threads run close to the surface, breezes that rustle grass and turn windmills. Others race far above, like the jet streams, moving faster than any storm below. These upper winds steer weather systems, pushing clouds, bending the paths of rain, even influencing when and where a storm will grow. The movements of this air are not random. They are driven by differences in temperature, in pressure, in the pull of gravity and the spin of the earth. When one place warms and another stays cool, air shifts between them, seeking balance. Warm air rises, cool air slides in to replace it, and so the great circulation begins. It is a slow dance, yet it never ends. You can feel a piece of this dance in the smallest breeze. That soft touch on your cheek may have started hours earlier, over sunlit hills where the day's heat lifted air into the sky. As that warm air rose, cooler air from somewhere else hurried in to take its place, and here it is now, finding you in the quiet of night. Even the gentlest gust carries a long story. Imagine for a moment following one of these air threads. You rise above the rooftops of your town, drifting higher until the streets blur into patterns. You feel the air cool as you climb. Then the wind catches you, a steady, unseen hand, and you begin to travel. Below, the land shifts from green to brown to blue. Mountains pass like sleeping giants. Oceans stretch in silver-gray stillness. Along the way, the air gathers scents. Pine forests, open salt water, the faint sweetness of blooming fields dot high over the equator. Where sunlight is most direct, warm air surges upward in great columns. These rising towers of heat spill outward at the top, sliding toward the poles. Near the surface, cooler air flows back in toward the equator to replace what has risen. This is part of the Great Hadley Cells, giant loops of moving air that help shape the climate of the world. They carry moisture from tropical oceans, feed monsoons, and mark the edges of deserts. All of this is happening, always, even as you lie here. The air is also shaped by the turning of the earth. This spin, gentle but constant, bends the paths of the winds in what is called the Coriolis effect. It is the reason storms spin clockwise in one hemisphere and counterclockwise in the other. It is why the trade winds, steady breezes that once carried sailing ships across oceans, blow in their predictable paths. Without this turning, the threads of air would run straight north and south. Instead, they curve, weaving the weather's intricate patterns. Even in stillness, the air above you is layered. On a warm summer evening, the lowest layer near the ground may be heavy and slow, holding the scent of grass and soil. Above that, a cooler layer may glide more quickly, carrying different air altogether. In the morning, sunlight stirs these layers, mixing them, blending scents and temperatures until the atmosphere feels fresh again. At night, the air cools and settles, but it does not stop. It drapes itself over hills, sliding down valleys in what are called katabatic winds. It moves from land to sea in slow, steady breaths. The land breeze at night, the sea breeze by day. Even in the dark, these quiet exchanges go on, trading. Warmth and coolness, shaping the feel of the air on your skin. The atmosphere is not only a carrier of weather, but also a shield. It catches meteors, burns them into harmless sparks before they can reach the ground. It holds in the warmth of the day, releasing it slowly into the night. It filters sunlight, letting through the light that nourishes plants, but blocking much of the radiation that would harm you. Without this thin ocean of air, the earth would be a silent, frozen rock or a place too harsh for life to last. You might think of the sky as empty, but it is alive with motion. Even the calmest evening holds countless shifts in temperature, humidity, and pressure. In one place, air is rising. In another, it is falling. Somewhere far away, the beginnings of a storm are forming. A ripple in the air's great fabric, and that ripple will grow, travel, and one day brush the edges of your own sky. In this way, all weather is connected. A gust in your street may be part of a journey that began with the warm breath of the Indian Ocean. A soft drizzle may have started as vapor, rising from a distant river. The air carries not only water and warmth, but also traces of dust, pollen, and salt, linking distant places in ways you cannot see but can always feel. And so, as you breathe in, you are taking part in this shared circulation. You are breathing the same molecules that birds ride on their migrations, that mountains sculpt into wind, that oceans scent with salt. In each exhale, you return your own small contribution to the mix, your warmth, your breath, your place in the cycle. Tonight, as the world quiets, imagine yourself resting inside this great breathing ocean. You are held in its threads, connected to distant lands by currents you cannot see, but can trust are always there. The air moves, and you move with it, gently and without effort. It is the soft fabric that wraps the earth, tying you to every horizon dot, and somewhere beyond the darkness, the first light of morning is preparing to touch the edges of the atmosphere. It will spill into the air, warm it, set new currents in motion. That is the next story, how sunlight reaches across space to stir the winds, to wake the sky, to begin another day's dance. Every morning, the sun brushes the earth with light, not evenly, but in gentle patches and shifting strokes. Warmth rises, dances, and spreads, giving birth to winds and clouds. You feel it on your skin, yet its true journey is measured in waves and photons. You are warmed by a star's distant embrace. The first light of morning does not arrive all at once. It begins as a faint silver glow at the edge of the sky, a suggestion that the night is loosening its hold. The sun has not yet risen above the horizon, yet already its touch is reaching you, bending through the atmosphere, scattering into the soft colors of dawn. The warmth you feel in the morning is a gift from unimaginably far away. The sun sits about 150 million kilometers from Earth, yet its presence is immediate, a familiar comfort, like a hand resting gently on your shoulder. This touch is made of photons, tiny packets of light, each one a traveler from the heart of a star. Inside the sun, in its dense and glowing core, hydrogen atoms are fused into helium in a process called nuclear fusion. This fusion releases enormous amounts of energy in the form of light and heat. But the light you feel today began its journey long ago. From the sun's core to its surface is a dense, crowded world. Photons bump and weave their way outward for thousands, even millions of years. By the time they reach open space, they stream freely toward Earth in just over 8 minutes. That is the true speed of sunlight, 8 minutes from sun to skin. When these photons meet the Earth, they do not fall evenly across its surface. Because our planet is round, the light strikes more directly near the equator and more softly toward the poles. Some places wake early to sunlight, while others linger in shade. This uneven touch is one of the great forces that moves our atmosphere, shaping winds, seasons, and the flow of weather itself. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its light grows stronger. You can feel its warmth as it pours into the land, the oceans, the forests. Darker surfaces, like deep soil or asphalt, drink in more of this light, heating quickly. Lighter surfaces, like ice or sand, reflect more of it back into the sky. This difference is called albedo, a measure of how much sunlight something reflects. And because the world is patchwork, ocean here, forest there, desert beyond, the sun's warmth paints in uneven strokes. These differences create movement. Where the ground warms quickly, the air above it warms too, becoming lighter and rising. Where the surface remains cooler, the air stays heavier, sinking gently. This rising and sinking is the beginning of a great circulation. Warm air climbing, cooler air rushing in to take its place. In these motions, you can feel the sun's invisible hand guiding the air, shaping the sky. But the sun's touch is not only heat, it is also color. When light enters the atmosphere, it meets molecules of air, tiny droplets of water, specks of dust. Blue light scatters more easily than red, which is why the daytime sky wears its familiar blue. At dawn and dusk, when sunlight must pass through more of the atmosphere, blue light scatters away, leaving the warm reds and golds of sunrise and sunset. This scattering, called Rayleigh scattering, is why the beginning and end of each day carry such gentle beauty. Beneath this painted sky, sunlight sets the stage for life. Green plants, through photosynthesis, use light to turn carbon dioxide and water into sugars, food not only for themselves, but for nearly every creature on Earth. In this way, each photon that touches a leaf becomes part of a much larger story, the flow of energy through life. Without the sun, there would be no wind, no rain, no forests, no oceans as we know them. On the ocean's surface, sunlight stirs another rhythm. Water absorbs light and heat, but not evenly. The top layers warm first, while the depths remain cool. This creates layering in the ocean, just as in the air. Warm surface waters expand and move, setting in motion currents that can circle entire basins. These ocean currents, born partly from the sun's uneven heating, carry warmth toward colder shores and return cooler water toward the tropics, balancing temperatures across the globe. In the stillness of a summer afternoon, you can feel the sun's silent work. The air near the ground ripples with heat waves, bending the view just above the surface. Far above, invisible streams of air respond, shifting and flowing. Clouds may begin to form as warm, moist air rises high enough to cool, causing water vapor to condense into visible droplets. In this way, a single beam of sunlight can set in motion the birth of a cloud, and yet the sun is not constant. Its energy output changes only slightly over decades, but the angle and length of its reach shift daily and seasonally. This slow, steady change is what creates the dance of seasons, the long days of summer, the tilted light of winter. The sun's path moves higher or lower in the sky, depending on where you are on Earth, changing the shape of shadows, the time of sunrise and sunset, the strength of its warmth. Even the very air you breathe is shaped by sunlight. When sunlight strikes certain molecules, like ozone high in the stratosphere, it can cause them to split and rejoin, creating a protective shield that blocks much of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. Closer to the ground, sunlight can also drive chemical reactions that clean the air, or, in polluted places, create haze. The sun is both a caretaker and a sculptor of the atmosphere. But there is another side to this relationship. The same sun that brings warmth and life can also bring extremes. In deserts, the lack of water and vegetation means sunlight heats the ground intensely, creating shimmering heat that can feel sharp and endless. In polar regions where sunlight arrives at a low angle for much of the year, its touch is faint, leaving ice to glitter under a cold sky. These differences remind you that the sun's touch is not one thing, but many, gentle in one place, fierce in another, always present, but never the same. Think for a moment of the journey of a single photon that reaches you now. It was born in the crushing heart of the sun, traveled for eons through dense plasma, leapt into open space, and crossed the vast distance to Earth in just minutes. It passed through the high layers of the atmosphere, scattered among molecules, until it found your skin, your face, your open palm. You are touched by something that began far beyond, something that has traveled almost unimaginably to arrive. In this moment, as the day moves forward, the sun's path will arc across the sky, shadows stretching and shrinking in a slow, predictable rhythm. The warmth you feel will rise and fall with the angle of the light. By late afternoon, the sun's glow will soften again, the blues deepening, the golds returning, until light slips toward evening. But the story of sunlight does not end when the sun sets. The warmth that stirred in the air continues to move, drifting. From place to place, carried by winds that run across continents and seas. The air, set in motion by the sun's touch, becomes the earth's breath, a slow exhale, a steady inhale, a rhythm that carries into the night. And so, as the last light fades and the stars begin to appear, the warmth you felt hours ago is still with you, moving in the air around you, shaping tomorrow's weather. The sun has left for now, but the motions it began will continue long after darkness settles. Somewhere in that moving air is the first hint of the next chapter, the great, endless breathing of the earth. Winds are the planet breathing, slow, powerful sighs that circle the globe. They carry seeds, scents, and storms across continents. In the hush of night, they are the lullaby of the atmosphere. You listen, and the earth exhales around you. Step outside into the night, and the air moves against your skin, soft, steady, and alive. This is the breath of the earth. It is not just movement. It is a rhythm, an inhale and exhale that has been going on since long before you were here. Since before there were cities, before there were forests, even before there were oceans in their present form. Winds are the planet breathing, not with lungs or ribs, but with the gentle pressure of air and the slow turning of the world. Just as your own breath carries life through your body, winds carry life through the atmosphere. They shift warmth from one place to another, spread moisture, transport pollen and spores, and smooth out the great differences between hot and cold, wet and dry. Every gust, every breeze, every powerful storm wind begins with a difference, a contrast in temperature or pressure. Where the sun warms the land unevenly, the air above warms unevenly too. Warm air rises, light and buoyant, while cooler air sinks, heavier and more grounded. The atmosphere responds to these differences by moving, drawing air from one place to another, like water flowing to fill an empty space. In this way, winds are the Earth's way of seeking balance. They are never still for long because the planet is never perfectly balanced. Somewhere, a desert is heating under the noon sun, while a polar sea lies in shadow. Somewhere, a mountain is forcing air upward, cooling it into clouds. Somewhere, far from here, the seeds of tomorrow's breeze are being sown. When you stand in the wind, you are feeling the result of a vast and ancient system. Part of it is driven by the sun's warmth. Part of it is shaped by the turning of the earth itself. This turning bends the paths of winds in a subtle curve, a quiet force called the Coriolis effect. In the northern hemisphere, it causes winds to veer to the right. In the southern, to the left. This bending shapes entire weather systems, giving cyclones their spin and steering the great ocean of air high above. Far beyond where you can see, narrow bands of fast-moving air circle the planet. These are the jet streams, rivers of wind that flow west to east, guiding storms and weather patterns far below. A single jet stream can carry air across continents in a day, pulling moisture from one ocean and dropping it as rain halfway around the world. These winds are not felt on your skin, but you feel their influence in the weather that reaches you. Closer to the surface, winds take on more local shapes. There are sea breezes, born from the daily conversation between land and water, cooler air sweeping in from the ocean during the day, warmer air flowing back out to sea at night. There are mountain winds, gliding down slopes in the evening chill, or climbing toward peaks in the morning warmth. Even the smallest hill can create its own wind patterns, stirring the air in gentle, invisible swirls. Sometimes the earth's breath is barely noticeable, the faintest stirring of leaves, the light brush of hair against your cheek. Times it is fierce and unstoppable, as in the great trade winds that once carried explorers across the seas, or the monsoon winds that bring life-giving rain to entire regions. Both the gentle and the powerful winds are part of the same global breath, connected in ways that stretch far beyond what you can see. That the wind carries more than air. It carries the scents of distant places, salt from the sea, resin from forests, smoke from far-off fires. It carries seeds, some so small they are invisible, some with delicate wings that let them drift for days. It carries pollen across fields and forests, linking plants in invisible threads. It even carries life in the tiniest form, microscopic, organisms that travel unseen from one part of the world to another. Listen closely on a still night, and you might hear the wind before you feel it, a low murmur in the trees, a distant rush along rooftops. The sound of wind is not just air in motion. It is the voice of the landscape. Hills, buildings, branches, each shapes the wind into a different note. In open plains, it whistles. In dense forests, it sighs. Against a cliff face, it roars. The wind speaks differently everywhere, yet always with the same breath. Even now, as you stand here, the wind you feel may have been part of a storm, far away just days ago. It may have risen from the heat shimmering above a tropical sea, then been pulled northward by the planet's rotation. It may have crossed mountains, dipped into valleys, curled around lakes, until finally it arrived here, softer, slower, carrying only a memory of where it began. This journey is constant. Air that leaves one place will always arrive somewhere else, changed along the way. It gathers heat from warm ground, moisture from open water, and the subtle chemistry of the landscapes it touches. By the time it reaches you, it is a blend of many places, a traveling messenger from across the world. And the winds do more than carry. They shape. In deserts, they sculpt dunes, moving grains of sand like tiny travelers of their own. In coastal cliffs, they carve rock over centuries. Over oceans, they raise waves and stir surface waters, mixing the warmth of the sun into deeper layers. On land, they dry the soil after rain or bring in clouds that darken the sky. If you close your eyes and imagine the earth from above, you can see its breath as swirling patterns, spirals of air around storms, long ribbons of wind stretching across the oceans, small eddies twisting off the edges of mountains. It is a living pattern, always changing, always beautiful. Without wind, the earth would be a very different place. Warmth would gather and stagnate in some regions while others froze. Seeds and pollen would stay trapped in one place, and many plants would never grow beyond their small beginnings. The seas would be still on their surfaces, and rain might never travel far from where it began. The wind is the link that connects all corners of the globe, a reminder that no place is truly alone. On calm days, you might forget the wind is there. But even then, far above, the jet streams are still racing, and subtle currents are sliding past you. Just as your own breathing continues when you are still, the earth's breath never stops. And at night, when the air cools and sinks, the winds often soften, taking on a slower rhythm. The rustle of leaves becomes a whisper. The great movements of the atmosphere are quiet, as though the planet itself is resting between breaths. Yet even now, somewhere far away, storms are gathering strength, trade winds are blowing, and the seeds of tomorrow's weather are being carried to new places. You take another breath in, and you breathe in more than oxygen. You breathe in the story of where the air has been, the forests it has passed, the seas it has skimmed, the mountains it has crossed. You are part of this great circulation. Every exhale you give returns to the wind, becoming part of its endless journey. Above you, the wind is shaping the clouds, pulling them into strands or pushing them into towering forms. Even the smallest puff of breeze can shift a cloud's edge and can send a shadow sliding across the land. The earth's breath paints the sky as it moves, turning invisible currents into visible beauty. And so, as you listen to the wind tonight, you are also listening to the beginning of the next story, the drifting gardens of the sky, the clouds that form and travel on the breath of the earth. Clouds bloom from invisible vapors, like wildflowers in the air. They are travelers, storytellers, and keepers of rain. Some guard the sun, others carry thunder's deep voice. You lie beneath their drifting shapes, safe in their shade. You lift your gaze, and the sky is no longer a simple blue. Shapes drift there, slow, weightless, and ever-changing. Clouds, the sky's floating gardens, bloom in silence. They appear without sound or fanfare, yet each one is a small miracle of transformation. Vapor turning into form, invisibility becoming visible dot. It begins with water, the same water that fills oceans and rivers, that hides in soil, that rests deep within leaves. Under the warmth of the sun, some of that water slips into the air as vapor, rising quietly, unseen. You cannot watch this happen, but the air slowly grows more crowded with these tiny, invisible travelers. Warm air, lighter than cool air, carries them upward, lifting them toward colder heights. As the air rises, it cools. And cool air cannot hold as much vapor as warm air. Somewhere along its climb, the air reaches a point where the vapor begins to change. Tiny droplets form, too small to fall, but large enough to scatter light. These droplets gather by the billions, suspended in the air. Together, they make a cloud. From far below, a cloud may look solid, but if you could walk inside it, you would find it is mostly space. The droplets are so small and so far apart that you could pass through without feeling more than a faint mist against your skin. And yet, gathered together, they can hide mountains, cover the sun, or stretch across an entire horizon. There are many kinds of clouds, each with its own shape and mood. Wisps of cirrus, high and delicate, trail like pale brushstrokes against the deep sky. Puffy cumulus clouds pile high in the afternoon, their edges glowing in the sun. Gray sheets of stratus clouds drift low and wide, wrapping the day in soft shadow. Towering cumulonimbus rise like mountains in the sky, bringing thunder and lightning in their great, rumbling bodies. Each type of cloud tells a story about the air that holds it. High, thin clouds may mean calm weather ahead. Tall, dark clouds may warn of rain or storms. To read the sky is to listen to its unspoken language, one that people have watched and understood for thousands of years. Sailors once set their course. By it, farmers timed their planting. Travelers read their chances of fair weather from the shapes above. Clouds are not only signs. They are also travelers. Pushed by winds, they can cross seas, mountains, and deserts. Some form in the morning and vanish by afternoon. Others circle the globe for days. From an airplane, you might see them as endless fields of white, stretching to every horizon. From the ground, they are drifting shadows that sweep over hills and rooftops, changing the light with every moment. Beneath a cloud's shadow, the air is cooler, the light softer. Plants and animals notice these changes, even if we do not. In hot places, the brief shade of a cloud can ease the stress of midday heat. In cold places, the blanket of a low cloud can keep warmth close to the ground, protecting what grows and lives there. Clouds are also keepers of water. Every droplet within them is part of a cycle that moves endlessly between sea, sky, and land. In some clouds, the droplets grow larger as they collide, until they are heavy enough to fall as rain. In colder clouds, ice crystals form instead, drifting downward as snow. In this way, clouds carry the gift of fresh water across the world, feeding rivers, lakes, and the roots of forests. But not all clouds release their water. Some hold their droplets until they evaporate back into invisible vapor. These clouds are brief visitors, part of the sky's constant rehearsal for rain. Others may drop only a light mist, too fine to notice unless you walk through it. Even without rain, clouds shape the way sunlight reaches the earth, softening its heat or brightening it through reflection. Light and clouds are old friends. Sunlight striking a cloud scatters in all directions, giving it that luminous, glowing quality. When the sun is low in the sky, its light must pass through more atmosphere, losing some of its blue and green hues. The reds and oranges that remain turn clouds into blazing sculptures, glowing as though lit from within. After sunset, the highest clouds can still catch the light, glowing pink or gold, while the world below slips into shadow. From space, clouds look like bright, swirling patterns, white against the deep blue of oceans and the brown and green of land. Satellites watch them from above, tracing their movements, measuring their heights, learning their patterns. To see the whole planet wrapped in these shifting veils is to understand just how alive the atmosphere is. If you could follow a cloud, you would see how connected it is to everything below. A cloud over the ocean might have formed from water that evaporated days ago, lifted into the air by the sun's warmth. That water might travel thousands of kilometers before falling again, perhaps as rain in a distant forest. The river that begins with that rain may one day return to the sea, completing the circle. Sometimes, clouds form in surprising places. Around mountains, air is pushed upward, cooling and condensing into clouds that hug the peaks. Over cities, rising heat can encourage clouds to build higher than in the surrounding countryside. Even an airplane's engines can leave trails of cloud behind, condensation from warm exhaust meeting cold air, marking the path the plane has taken, standing. Beneath clouds, you might notice their speed. They seem slow, but many travel faster than you think, pushed along by winds you cannot feel from the ground. Their shapes stretch, fold, and dissolve in minutes, only to be replaced by new ones. Watching clouds is like watching time made visible. The moment always changing, never holding still. Clouds are also part of the atmosphere's balance. They reflect sunlight back into space, cooling the earth. They trap some of the heat radiating from the surface, keeping nights warmer. The balance of these effects depends on the type, height, and thickness of the clouds. In this way, they act like the Earth's own thermostat, fine-tuning the climate from moment to moment. And then there are the clouds of the night. Under moonlight, they become pale silver, drifting slowly against the dark. On some nights, thin clouds halo the moon, scattering its light into rings. On others, thick clouds hide the stars entirely, leaving only the sound of the wind to tell you they are there. Even in darkness, clouds shape the mood of the sky. Perhaps the most magical thing about clouds is their impermanence. No two are ever the same. No cloud lasts forever. They are always becoming, always dissolving. A cloud is not a fixed thing, but a process, a moment in the cycle of water and air. To watch them is to watch transformation itself. As you lie beneath them, you may feel a quiet comfort in their presence. They are reminders that the sky is alive, that the air above is more than empty space. Each cloud carries the story of where it has been, the warmth that lifted it, the winds that guided it. Some carry the promise of rain. Others hold only light. Tonight, as the wind moves softly overhead, clouds drift on unseen highways of air. Some will vanish before morning. Others will grow heavy with water, ready to release their cargo. You watch them pass, knowing that somewhere in the journey ahead, the gentle fall of rain is waiting. Raindrops begin as whispers between water and air. They rise, cool, and gather until gravity invites them to return. Every drop is a tiny mirror of the sky. You hear them tapping, like nature's slow, steady heartbeat. It begins high above you, in the cool belly of a cloud. Tiny droplets of water, lighter than a speck of dust, drift together. They meet, touch, and merge, as if remembering that they were once part of the same ocean. Each droplet is held aloft by the air, cradled in invisible currents, waiting for something to change, and then Slowly, it does. More droplets gather. The weight grows. The air can no longer carry them, and gravity extends its patient hand. The droplets begin their descent, turning from mist to bead, from bead to raindrop dot from the ground. You see the first faint signs, a shift in the scent of the air, as though the earth is breathing in, preparing for the touch of water. Wind grows softer, more deliberate, as if it is making space for what is about to arrive. The first drop falls alone. It lands on a leaf, on a roof, on the skin of your hand. A moment later, another follows. Then another. Soon, the sky's quiet. Gift becomes a rhythm. 1,000 tiny impacts create a soft, irregular music. Nature's heartbeat slowed down so you can hear it. Rain falls in shapes the eye cannot see. Some drops fall straight and clean, tracing invisible lines from cloud to ground. Others sway. In the wind, drifting sideways, spinning in slow arcs. If you could watch a single drop in its journey, you would see it tumbling, reshaping itself over and over. Before it lands, not all rain begins as liquid. In the coldest clouds, it forms as ice crystals, delicate and geometric. As they fall through warmer air, they melt into droplets. Others remain frozen, falling as snow or sleet, changing the story they tell when they touch the earth. But here, tonight, the air is warm enough to turn every falling crystal into a bead of liquid silver. The size of each drop tells a quiet story about the cloud above. Small drops mean the air is gentle, letting water grow slowly. Large drops tell of vigorous currents, where droplets collide and merge many times before gravity wins. And somewhere between them lies the perfect raindrop, round enough to carry the reflection of the sky, heavy enough to fall with purpose, light enough to linger in the air just a breath longer. As the rain gathers, the sound changes. On the only roof, it is a steady pattern. In the trees, it is a hushed applause, leaves catching and releasing water in countless little sighs. On the earth itself, it is a deeper note, as soil accepts the gift and begins to drink. Rain does more than touch the surface, it renews it. It washes dust from leaves, clears pollen from the air, and settles the smallest grains of soil back into place. It carries scents into the world, the sharp freshness of wet stone, the sweetness of damp earth, the green breath of rain-touched grass. These scents are more than poetry. They are chemical stories. One, called petrichor, rises from the soil when rain awakens certain oils released by plants during dry spells. Another, ozone, appears before rain when lightning or certain atmospheric reactions split oxygen molecules, releasing a faint, clean tongue that seems to sharpen the air. The rain you feel tonight may have traveled far. It may have been vapor lifted from a distant ocean, or from the sweat of a forest's leaves, or from the breath of a lake at dawn. It may have risen into the sky weeks ago, wandering with the wind before joining the cloud above you. Every drop has a past, a journey invisible to the eye, but carried in its being. Rain falls equally, without judgment. It touches city streets and wild meadows, mountain peaks, and desert stones. In some places, it soaks into thirsty ground in moments, disappearing without a trace. In others, it lingers in puddles, mirroring the sky until the sun returns. Where it falls into rivers, it begins the next part of its journey, rushing toward lakes or seas. Where it seeps into soil, it nourishes roots, feeds seeds, and becomes part of the slow work of growth that you watch it gather on the edges of leaves, bending them under its weight until the drops fall free. You see it tracing the glass of a window, joining into small streams that wind their way downward, carrying gust and light alike. Each drop is a lens, magnifying whatever lies behind it, bending the world into tiny, shifting shapes. Rain changes the air as it falls. It cleanses it, catching dust, pollen, even microscopic life. In heavy rain, the air feels sharper, clearer, as though a weight has been lifted. The sound of rain also changes the mind. Its irregular rhythm can quiet thought, slowing the busy patterns of the day until they match its gentle pace. You may find yourself breathing in time with it, feeling each exhale loosen your body. Some rains are brief, a passing cloud's whisper. Others stay for hours, settling in like a guest who knows they are welcome. Prolonged rain has its own presence, its own patience. It is not in a hurry. It moves in cycles, sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter, never quite the same from one moment to the next. Beneath the rain, the world softens. Edges blur, colors deepen. The green leaves become richer. The stone grows darker. The sky itself seems closer, as though the falling water has drawn it toward you. Rain is also a messenger. To farmers, it signals growth. To rivers, it means renewal. To the smallest seeds lying hidden in the soil, it is the long-awaited sign to wake. Creatures respond to it too. Birds fluff their feathers, insects seek shelter, and frogs sing louder in its presence. From a scientific view, rain is a key player in the planet's water cycle, the endless loop that moves water between ocean, sky, and land. Without rain, rivers would shrink, forests would fade, and life itself would be hard to sustain. Yet from where you sit, listening to its soft percussion, it is more than a process. It is a conversation between sky and earth, a gentle reminder of connection. When you hold out your hand to catch a drop, you are touching something that may have been ice a moment ago, or vapor an hour ago, or seawater a week ago. It is the same water that once filled ancient seas that flowed in rivers long before humans walked the land. Every drop is old, older than memory, and yet new in the way it meets you now. As the rain continues, its rhythm shifts. Perhaps it grows lighter, each drop spaced farther apart. Perhaps it grows heavier, the space between impacts closing until the sound becomes a constant rush. Either way, it is alive in its own slow way, adjusting to changes in the wind, in the clouds above, in the breath of the earth below. Sometimes, rain arrives with thunder, deep, rolling voices that speak of energy moving through the air. Other times, it falls in perfect silence, the only sound being its touch on the world. Both have their own beauty, their own way of marking time. Tonight's rain feels steady, calm. You imagine the thousands of tiny rivers it is creating, each drop joining another, flowing toward some unseen destination. You imagine seeds underground, swelling with the first taste of moisture, roots stretching deeper into softened soil. You imagine the air tomorrow, clear and bright after this gentle cleansing. And yet, the rain will not last forever. The clouds will thin, the wind will shift, and the falling water will fade to a few final drops. But in its place, something else will arrive, a moment when the world is washed and still, when the air holds a freshness you can almost taste. It is quiet after the rain, when puddles shine and leaves drip, and the sky begins to open again. Out in that stillness, you will feel the faint stirring of light, sunlight finding its way back through the thinning clouds, touching wet branches, catching in the mirrors of shallow water. That light will have its own story to tell. A storm is a symphony. Light flashes before the drum. Lightning stitches clouds to the ground in silver threads. Thunder follows, rolling through valleys and over oceans. You feel the air tremble, then settle again. The first sign is silence. It is a pause in the day, so delicate that you almost miss it. The birds grow quiet, the wind stills, and the air around you becomes heavy with waiting. It is as if the world holds its breath. You notice the light shifting, colors deepening, shadows softening. Clouds that had been drifting like gentle thoughts now gather into great, looming forms. Their undersides are dark, bruised with the promise of rain. A tension hums in the atmosphere, subtle yet undeniable. The sky feels close now, as though it is bent down to listen. Then, a flicker. It is not like the warm light of the sun or the steady glow of a lamp. This is sudden, electric, a brilliant stitch of white that splits the clouds apart for the briefest heartbeat. It moves so fast that your eyes can barely follow it, yet it leaves an afterimage dancing on your vision. Lightning has spoken its first word. What you see is not merely light. It is the path carved by charged particles racing through the air. Far above, within the towering clouds, tiny collisions are taking place. Raindrops, ice crystals, and hailstones bump and swirl, separating electrical charges. Like a comb running through your hair on a dry day, the cloud builds a quiet static, but on a scale vast beyond imagining. Positive charges gather near the top, negative charges settle toward the bottom. The Earth's surface below responds, rearranging its own charges in silent anticipation. When the difference becomes too great to contain, nature releases it. The lightning bolt you see is the meeting point, a sudden, brilliant handshake between sky and ground, between charged regions of the clouds themselves. It happens in a blink, yet in that instant, the air is transformed. The bolt's path is heated to temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. Air expands violently, pushing outward faster than sound can travel. And then you hear it. Thunder. It begins as a crack, sharp and immediate if the strike is near. Or it begins as a low, rolling growl if the lightning is far away. The sound is not one note, but many. Layers of echoes bouncing through valleys, threading between buildings, weaving across open fields. It is the voice of the heated air, now, cooling, returning to calm. You can almost feel it in your chest, a slow, resonant drumbeat that marks the storm's pulse. There is an old saying, count the seconds between lightning and thunder to know how far the storm is. Each second is roughly a third of a kilometer. It is not a perfect measure, but it turns the storm into a kind of clock, a conversation you can follow, a rhythm you can anticipate. Flash. 1, 2, 3. Boom. The storm is 3 kilometers. Away. As you watch, another flash arcs across the sky, this one branching like the roots of a great glowing tree. Some bolts leap from cloud to cloud, others reach toward the ground, and some rise upward from tall structures to meet the charge. Above, the patterns are never the same twice, each stroke a unique, fleeting sculpture in light. Yet for all its drama, lightning also carries quiet purposes. It helps balance the Earth's electrical field. It forms nitrogen compounds in the air, tiny gifts to the soil when the rain carries them down. In its own way, each bolt feeds life as much as it frightens it. You listen as the storm finds its rhythm. Light and sound, each following the other, yet never arriving together. The flashes illuminate the landscape in brief, ghostly photographs. A tree bending in the wind, a curtain of rain advancing over the fields, the curve of a distant hill. Between them, thunder reminds you of the scale of the world, of the sky's vastness and the patience of the air in carrying sound so far. There is a comfort in the order of it, in knowing that every flash will have its voice, that every bolt will be answered. The storm feels alive, breathing, speaking, singing. It is a symphony that has played for billions of years, long before human ears learned to listen. Sometimes, the thunder is so deep, it seems to come from inside you. Other times, it is so soft it feels as though the sky is whispering. But always, it arrives as the storm's second heartbeat, the sound you wait for after the light. You sit with it, feeling time stretch between the flash and the rumble. That gap is a kind of stillness, a space where your thoughts can rest. The storm continues its work, cleansing the air, redistributing heat, watering the earth. Nature's orchestra plays without a conductor. Yet each note finds its place. You think about the journey of each lightning bolt, born in the clouds, shaped by the invisible architecture of electrical fields, ending in a flare of heat and light. It is the fastest traveler you will ever witness with your eyes, yet it leaves behind a slow, rolling memory in sound. In this way, lightning and thunder are like thought and feeling. One arrives in an instant, the other unfolds in waves. The air cools as rain begins to fall more steadily. The sound of drops joins the storm's song, a softer counterpoint to the thunder's deep drum. Mist rises where the rain meets warm earth, carrying the scent of minerals and green leaves. You breathe it in, a gift delivered through stormlight. The flashes grow less frequent now. Thunder becomes more distant, its voice softened by the miles. What was once an overwhelming performance is now a gentle farewell. The storm moves on, continuing its journey over hills, across rivers, toward other waiting fields. In its wake, the world feels freshly made. Leaves glisten, streets shine, and the air is washed clear. The silence after a storm is not the same. As before, it carries a kind of fullness, as though the world has exhaled. You look up at the sky, now open again, and think about what you have just witnessed. A conversation between light and sound, heat and air, sky and ground. A reminder that even the fiercest forces can bring renewal. And somewhere in the quiet that follows, you notice something else. The clouds are breaking apart, revealing the deepening blue above. The last drops fall, each one catching a fragment of the fading light. You think of the water that has been lifted, cooled, gathered, and released, and you realize the sky's music is only part of the story. There is another journey happening, one that began before the storm and will continue long after dot. It is the journey of the water itself, from ocean to cloud, from rain to river, from earth to sky again. The endless cycle, patient and sure, that carries life across the world. You feel the pull of that next story. It waits just beyond this moment, flowing onward, ready to be followed. In the cold, the air paints crystals from water's breath. Each snowflake is a sculpture, unique and fleeting. They fall in silence, muffling the world. The earth tucks itself beneath a white, shimmering quilt. The first snow does not shout its arrival. It comes quietly, the way sleep drapes over you at the end of a long day. The air feels lighter, sharper, as though each breath has been polished. You notice it in the way sound carries differently, softened and distant. Somewhere above, in the higher reaches of the clouds, the transformation begins. It starts with the simplest of ingredients, water vapor drifting in the cold. At great heights, where the temperature falls well below freezing, the vapor meets. A tiny particle, a speck of dust, a grain of pollen, even a fragment of salt carried from a distant sea. Around this minuscule heart, a crystal begins to form. Molecule by molecule, water arranges itself into patterns dictated by its own nature, sixfold symmetry, branching with perfect geometry. You might imagine the process as delicate carving, but here the sculptor is the air itself. Temperature, humidity, and the subtle currents of wind all leave their signature on the growing crystal. If the air is especially cold and dry, the snowflake becomes slender and needle-like. If it is slightly warmer, broad, star-shaped plates emerge. No two journeys through the cloud are identical, so no two snowflakes are exactly the same. The flake drifts, spinning slowly, passing through layers of changing conditions. Sometimes it brushes against other crystals, sticking together to form larger clusters. Sometimes it remains solitary, falling alone through the wide, cold sky. All the while, the structure grows, not from a design, but from the quiet logic of physics and chemistry written in ice. And then, without fanfare, it begins its descent. The air carries it gently, sometimes letting it fall in a straight path, sometimes lifting it sideways in a swirl. From the ground, you see only a soft, wandering drift, thousands upon thousands of tiny sculptures making their way toward the earth. Snow falls differently from rain. Raindrops patter, snow arrives in silence. The sound you notice most is the absence of other sounds, the way the world becomes muted as though wrapped in thick cloth. Your footsteps crunch, but the trees stand still, the wind hushed. Air itself feels slower, as if respecting the stillness of the moment. You stretch out your hand and let a flake land on your glove. For a moment, you see its intricate branches, each arm balanced with the others, each point shimmering faintly. Then, as quickly as it arrived, it melts into a drop, a reminder that beauty can be both fragile and fleeting. This fleeting nature is part of snow's magic. Each flake holds the record of its journey through the clouds, but that story lasts only until warmth claims it. The uniqueness is not meant to be kept, only witnessed as snow gathers on the ground. The world begins to change shape. Edges soften. Colors fade to a palette of whites and muted grays. Hills and rooftops smooth over. Fences and branches blur into rounded lines. The landscape becomes a painting made only of light and shadow. Beneath this blanket, life slows down. The snow acts as insulation, keeping the ground beneath it warmer than the air above. Roots and seeds rest in the dark soil. Animals curl in. Burrows and rivers slow under thin skins of ice. It is as though the earth has pulled the quilt higher over its shoulders for a season of rest. You walk through it, feeling the way snow yields under your steps, compressing into a denser layer. Sometimes it squeaks, a sound that happens when temperatures are especially low and the crystals are dry and brittle. Other times it is soft and powdery, flowing like sand when disturbed. Every step is a reminder that snow is not just white. Water, it is air, ice, and structure woven together. Snow reflects most of the sunlight that touches it, which is why fresh drifts can seem almost blinding under a clear winter sky. This reflective quality helps regulate the planet's temperature, bouncing heat back into space. It is a quiet participant in Earth's climate balance, working without recognition, simply by being. You pause to listen. The snow absorbs sound so effectively that even distant noises fade away. It is an acoustic hush, created because the complex shapes of snow crystals scatter and trap vibrations. In this muffled world, your own breath sounds louder and your thoughts seem to echo in. The stillness in the right light, snow reveals more than just white. It can glow blue in shadow, sparkle gold at sunrise, or blush pink at dusk. Under the moon, it takes on a silver sheen, holding the night's light like a quiet lantern. Each color shift is a conversation between snow and sky, another way winter speaks without words. As the day wears on, the snow continues to fall. You think of the countless crystals above, each one still forming, still traveling, each carrying its own geometry toward the waiting earth. It is a journey repeated across continents, in mountains and valleys, across forests and plains. No matter where it falls, snow is part of the same ancient cycle. Water rising, cooling, crystallizing, returning. Eventually, storms pass. The clouds drift apart, revealing a sky washed clean and pale. The snow rests in even layers, its surface smooth and untouched except for the marks of wind or the delicate trails of animals. The world seems paused, holding itself in a state of perfect balance. But snow is never truly still. Even in the cold, it changes. The sharp edges of crystals soften. Grains bond together under their own weight. In sunlight, surface layers may melt slightly, then refreeze at night, forming thin crusts. The snowpack becomes a record not just of storms, but of days and nights, of warmth and cold, Of the season's subtle moods dot in some places, snow remains for months, feeding rivers when it finally melts. Its stored water becomes the pulse of spring, swelling streams and filling reservoirs. In this way, snow is not only the art of winter's breath, it is the promise of life renewed. You think about the journey of a single flake, from invisible vapor to intricate crystal, from cloud to glove, from melting drop to flowing stream. Its form may last only moments, but its substance continues on, transformed and carried forward. Nothing is lost. Everything is part of the greater churning. The cold deepens as evening comes. The snow beneath your feet glows faintly in the twilight, as though holding on to the memory of the day's light. Somewhere far above, new flakes are forming, beginning their slow descent. You imagine them falling through the night, each one adding to the quiet sculpture of the world dot, and as you stand, there you notice another truth. The stillness of snow is not emptiness, it is fullness. It holds the breath of the season, the rest between movements in the earth's long symphony. It asks for nothing but to be seen, to be felt, to be part of your own quiet memory. You turn toward home, leaving a trail of prints that will be softened. By the next fall, behind you, the snow keeps its watch, right against the growing dark. The air feels calm, as though holding something unspoken, a promise of change, of the slow turn toward what comes next. Fog is the sky coming close, wrapping the world in quiet. It hides distance, slows time, and softens the day. You walk through it as though in a dream, breathing clouds into your lungs. It is the weather's most intimate touch. Fog arrives not with the storm's drama, but with the gentleness of a secret whispered close. It does not rush toward you. It gathers, it waits, and then it is simply there. One moment the horizon is clear, and the next it is gone, replaced by a world of soft edges and muted light. You stand in it, and the world seems to have drawn inward. The sky is no longer far above. It has descended, folding itself into the landscape, wrapping trees, buildings, and roads in its pale embrace. The air feels thicker, yet more tender, as if the atmosphere itself has decided to come closer. To share your space for a while. Fog is, in truth, a low cloud made of the same delicate droplets of water that drift high above in towering formations. Each droplet is impossibly small, about 1/100th the width of a human hair. Together, billions of them hang suspended in the air, scattering light in all directions. It is this scattering that hides the far-off view, turning distance into mystery. The science of fog is simple enough. Warm, moist air meets cooler ground, or moist air cools enough to reach its dew point. But living inside fog feels anything but simple. It alters not just what you see, but how you move, how you listen, how you feel the world around you. Your footsteps sound closer. A bird's call seems nearer, too, even if it comes from far across. A field. Fog softens sound just as it softens vision, the droplets breaking up vibrations, absorbing and scattering them. The result is a quiet that is not empty, but full of gentle echoes. There are many kinds of fog, each shaped by its birthplace. Radiation fog forms on still nights when the ground cools and chills the air above it. Advection fog rolls in when warm, moist air drifts over colder surfaces, like sea fog spilling across a coastline. There is upslope fog, clinging to mountainsides as air is lifted and cooled. There is valley fog, settling low where air becomes trapped, creating a hidden world beneath a layer of cloud dot. No matter its origin, fog has a way of making the familiar strange. A path you know well becomes an unknown road. A tree you've seen 1,000 times appears as a silhouette, its branches fading into whiteness. The landscape loses its sharp lines. The world becomes less about shape and more about tone, brightness, and shadow. Walking in fog feels like stepping inside a dream. your sense of space changes. The edges of things are erased, and the far becomes near. Time itself seems to slow, perhaps because you can only see a few steps ahead, and your mind moves with what is visible, not with what lies beyond. You breathe it in, literally. The air you take into your lungs is touched by water, tiny droplets resting on the lining of your airways before they vanish into your body's warmth. In a way, you are inhaling the clouds themselves, tasting their coolness, carrying a piece of sky inside you. Sometimes fog moves. It drifts across hills in slow, rolling waves. It flows into valleys like water poured from an unseen jug. From a distance, it looks alive, spilling and folding over itself in endless change. Up close, it may seem still, though it is always in motion, droplets forming, merging, and evaporating again in a constant, invisible cycle. On certain mornings, the sun rises into fog, and the world is lit as if from within. The light is diffuse, coming from every direction without harsh shadow or glare. Everything seems to glow softly, as though touched by some quiet blessing. And if you are lucky, you might see a rare sight, a fog bow, a pale, ghostly rainbow, formed by sunlight bending through droplets too small to create strong colors. In coastal places, fog can be a daily visitor. It keeps the air cool, nourishes plants with its moisture, and hides ships until they loom suddenly into view. For some animals and plants, fog is a lifeline, condensing on leaves and dripping to the soil, feeding life in places where rain is scarce. In deserts near cold oceans, fog is the only water some creatures will ever know. There is a quiet intimacy to fog. It blurs the distance, drawing your focus to what is near. Your own breath, the ground at your feet, the sound of your clothing brushing as you move. It asks you to slow down, to navigate carefully, to live for the moment you are in, rather than rushing toward some far-off point you cannot yet see. For travelers, fog can be an obstacle, a danger even. On roads, it hides bends and oncoming. Cars, on seas, it conceals rocks and shorelines. Lighthouses exist for this very reason, their beams cutting through the white so that ships may find their way. But for the quiet walker, the wanderer without a destination, fog is not an obstacle. It is a companion, guiding you inward rather than outward. The water droplets in fog are so small and light that they can remain aloft for hours, even days. But eventually, the balance tips. The air warms or wind stirs the stillness, and the droplets vanish back into invisible vapor. One moment the world is wrapped and hidden. The next, it is open and clear, as though the fog was never there. Yet the feeling of it lingers. You remember how close the sky felt, how the air brushed your skin, how sound and sight folded into softness. You remember the way it made the world feel contained, as though you were inside a globe of quiet light. Fog teaches that not all beauty is in clarity. Sometimes it is in what is hidden, in what is suggested rather than shown. It reminds you that the unknown is not always to be feared. It can be gentle, protective, even nurturing. When you think of fog, you think of its patience. It does not hurry to lift. It waits until the moment is right. It accepts the warmth. That will dissolve it, just as it accepts the coolness that called it into being. It exists between worlds, not quite air, not quite water, and in that in-between, it becomes something entirely its own. You keep walking through it, each step disappearing behind you almost as soon as it is made. Ahead, shapes form and dissolve. It is a moving veil, letting the world be revealed only in fragments. And in this partial vision, your other senses wake, listening more closely, feeling the ground more keenly, breathing more deeply. In the deepest fog, it is easy to lose the sense of direction. Without landmarks, you navigate by sound, by the slope of the land, by the faint glow of the sun above the haze. It is a reminder that seeing is only one way of knowing where you are. Fog is not always white. In the right light, it takes on the colors of what surrounds it. Golden at dawn, silver under moonlight, tinged with the faint blue of distant snow or the green reflection of a forest. It is a mirror holding the mood of the moment, changing. With every shift in the sky dot, when fog clings to the sea, it holds a different kind of mystery. The horizon vanishes, the ocean and the air become one. Waves emerge suddenly, close at hand, and the sound of water striking stone or sand is magnified, as if the sea is speaking directly into your ear. Out there, beyond sight, currents move. Winds blow, and ships drift toward ports they cannot yet see. Eventually, the fog begins to thin. The shapes ahead grow clearer. The sky lightens. The world you knew returns, but changed, not in form, but in your way of looking. You have walked through a softened version of reality, and the sharpness of things now feels almost too much. Fog leaves behind dew on every surface, beads of water clinging to grass, to spider webs, to your own hair and clothing. These are its fingerprints, small proofs that it was here, that you truly passed through a cloud dot. As the last wisps rise and fade, you realize something. Fog is both arrival and departure. It comes to hide the distance, but it also reveals what is close. It slows the day so you can feel the air itself as it rests against your skin. And perhaps most of all, fog reminds you that the boundary between earth and sky is not fixed. Sometimes, the sky descends to meet you. Sometimes you walk inside it, carrying its cool breath in your lungs, its touch on your face. The earth leans, and the sun's path changes. Winter's stillness, summer's fire, spring's promise, autumn's gold, all turn in a circle. You are part of this rhythm, carried through the year without effort. The seasons dance, and you move with them. You open your eyes to a world that is never the same twice. The light falls differently than it did yesterday. The air tastes a little sharper, or perhaps a little sweeter. The tilt of the earth, just 23.5 degrees, is enough to shift the angle of sunlight that reaches you, enough to paint the world. In seasons, it is a small tilt, almost nothing at all if you measure it in human terms. But in the language of planets, it is everything. Without it, there would be no summer heat, no winter frost, no blooming springs, no amber falls. The earth spins, yes, but it also leans. A quiet, graceful bow toward the sun, and then away, over and over again. You do not feel this lean. It is too steady, too patient for your body to sense. But you see it in the shadows. In summer, the sun climbs high, shadows shrink, and the days stretch like a lazy cat. In winter, the sun lingers low, shadows grow long, and the days seem to fold in on themselves. Short and shy. This is the first step in the dance of seasons, a dance between the earth's tilt and its yearly journey around the sun. It is a journey you are always on, whether you notice it or not. You can imagine the earth's path as a great, invisible circle in space, its orbit. Along that path, the sun's light falls at different angles, and with every change in angle, the character of your world shifts. Not just the temperature, but the colors, the smells, the sounds. Spring arrives softly, like a tentative musician warming up before a song. You notice buds on branches, grass brightening, birds testing new melodies. The sun's warmth is gentle, almost shy, yet every day it grows a little stronger. Rain falls more often, feeding the roots and washing away winter's dust. Summer bursts, open like the chorus of a song. The sun's arc across the sky is long and high. Heat deepens and life surges. Trees are full and heavy. Rivers run fast. Insects hum in the air. Your own body feels it too. A natural urge to move more, to stretch, to soak in light. Autumn drifts in with a slower tempo. The sun begins to sink earlier each day. Shadows grow long again, and leaves turn gold, crimson, and brown. It is a season of release, trees letting go of leaves, fields offering their last harvests. The air carries a faint crispness, a whisper that winter is on its way. Winter arrives like a deep, slow note. The sun stays low, the light soft and pale. Snow may fall, or frost may lace the edges of leaves. The world seems to pause, to breathe, more slowly. Even you feel it, a pull to rest, to turn inward, to wait. Beneath this shifting rhythm is the quiet choreography of Earth's motion. It is not just tilt that shapes your seasons, but also the planet's position in its orbit. When your hemisphere leans toward the sun, you receive more direct light and longer days, summer. When it leans away, the days shorten and the sunlight spreads thin, winter. The equinoxes are the pauses between these tilts, moments when day and night balance almost perfectly. Around March and September, the sun rises exactly in the east, sets exactly in the west, and the day is nearly the same length as the night. The solstices are the turning points. June for the longest day, December for the longest night. These points are not just dates on a calendar, but markers in the Earth's endless waltz with the sun. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the rhythm. A slow, repeating measure that carries you forward year after year. The seasons do more than change landscapes. They shape life itself. Animals time their migrations, their breeding, their hibernation to the turning of the year. Plants awaken, bloom, and fade in harmony with the length of daylight and the temperature of the air. Even humans, with all their technology, feel the tug of these ancient cycles. In summer, your body produces more serotonin, lifting your mood. In winter, melatonin lingers longer, urging you to rest. Your appetite shifts, your energy changes, your thoughts follow different patterns. You are not separate from the Earth's dance. You are part of it, woven into the same rhythm that guides a sprouting seed or a migrating bird. Some places on Earth know only two main moods, wet and dry. Others have 4 distinct seasons, each sharply different from the last. Near the equator, the sun's path changes little, and the warmth remains constant. Near the poles, the tilt is dramatic, long months of daylight followed by long months of darkness. Wherever you stand, the seasons write their own story in your sky. Perhaps your summer is a blazing sun over endless fields. Perhaps your winter is not snow, but cool rain and softer winds. The dance is the same, but the music changes depending on where you are. For thousands of years, humans have marked time by watching the seasons. They built stone circles that framed the sun's position. On solstices, they planted crops by the timing of spring rains. They celebrated harvests in autumn, lit fires in winter to call the light back, and welcomed spring with festivals of flowers. Even now, you measure your life against these changes. You remember summers of your childhood by the taste of fruit, or the smell of hot pavement after rain. You remember winters by the sound of wind against windows, or the way the world felt quieter under frost. The seasons are not just a pattern outside you, they are a map within you. There is a gentle lesson here. The earth is always moving, but it also always returns. Spring comes again, and so does autumn. Your life, too, has its winters and summers, its moments of growth, of rest, of letting go, of renewal. The seasons remind you that change is natural, that endings are not final, and that every turning of the earth brings another beginning. As you imagine this great wheel turning, you may wonder about the forces that keep it steady. Why does the tilt remain instead of drifting wildly? Why does the earth keep to its path year after year? The answers lie in the deep balance of space, the gravitational pull of the sun, the slow wobble of Earth's axis, the invisible tugs of the moon. Even here, in this quiet reflection, you are part of a vast, precise clockwork. The same physics that keeps a snowflake falling also keeps your planet dancing through its seasons. You lie back and feel the year turn around you, not as something to rush through, but as a cycle to move with, a dance you have always been, part of even before you knew the steps. You are a traveler around the sun, 365 days at a time, always returning, always changing. The leaves will fall again. The snow will melt again. The blossoms will open again. The earth keeps turning. The sun keeps calling. And you, without even trying, keep time with the seasons. Your body feels the air, senses the pressure, tastes the rain. Inside you, the same elements flow: warmth, water, wind. You are not separate from the weather. You are made of it. As you rest, the skies continue their endless, gentle work. The seasons turn above you, slow and certain, and with them the weather changes its face. It is not a random mood, not an untethered whim. It is the breath of the earth, inhaling and exhaling in rhythms as old as oceans. You feel it even when you do not notice. The way your skin cools under a passing cloud, the way your chest loosens when warm sunlight finds you. Weather is the earth's conversation with itself. Heat rises, cold sinks. Air swirls and twists. Water changes from liquid to vapor to ice, then back again. It is a restless, never-finished cycle, a weaving of wind and temperature, of sunlight and shadow. You are not apart from this. Your breath is the air that only moments ago curled over hills or skimmed the surface of the sea. The water in your veins may have once been a drifting snowflake, a droplet in a mountain stream, or a bead of rain sliding down a green leaf. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in a wide, open field. The air touches your skin. That touch is not just temperature. It is a map of invisible movement. High above, sunlight warms the ground. Warm air, being lighter, rises gently upward. Cooler air slides in to take its place. This movement is called convection, but you do not have to remember the word. You already feel the meaning. It is the same way heat rises from a mug of tea, curling into the cooler air of your room. Wind is born in this dance between warm and cool. It has no shape of its own, yet you feel its personality. Some winds are soft, carrying the scent of rain. Others rush fast, full of the energy of distant storms. Wind is the earth's way of balancing itself, shifting air from where there is more pressure to where there is less, like water spilling from a full cup into an empty one. Above you, clouds begin to gather. They are not just decorations in the sky. They are the work of countless droplets, each so light it can float in the air. When warm air rises, it cools. Cooler air cannot hold as much water vapor, so the vapor condenses into tiny droplets, or ice crystals. Millions of them cluster together, forming the shapes you see drifting overhead. Clouds tell quiet stories. High, feathery cirrus clouds whisper of fair weather, but hint at change to come. Tall, towering cumulonimbus clouds speak more loudly, their dark undersides heavy with rain, their tops spreading like anvils in the upper sky. Low, gray stratus clouds hang close to the earth, wrapping the world in a soft, dim light. You breathe. You are part of this story. The moisture you exhale will, in time, join the air's invisible rivers, perhaps becoming part of a cloud, perhaps falling again, as rain. Rain is not simply falling water. It is the return of what was lifted away. The sun's warmth draws water from oceans, lakes, and soil, lifting it into the air. Winds carry it, sometimes across whole continents. When the air cools, the water gathers into droplets, which grow heavier until they fall back to the ground. Each drop that lands on your skin has traveled farther than you might imagine, touched places you may never see, You carry the same cycle within you. Your body's more than half water. It moves through you in quiet currents, through blood, through cells, through the air you breathe out. When you sweat, when you cry, when you exhale into the cool night, you return water to the world. But the weather is more than water and wind. It is also the subtle weight of air itself, what we call atmospheric pressure. You cannot see pressure, but your body feels it. When pressure drops, as it often does before a storm, you might feel a heaviness in your joints, a faint shift in your mood. When pressure rises, the air is stable and skies often clear. Pressure is simply the weight of the air above you, an ocean of gas stretching upward for miles. Though invisible, it presses on every part of you, on everything you see, with the same quiet persistence that water exerts on the seabed. You live at the bottom of this ocean of air, moving through it with every step, shaping it slightly with every breath. Sometimes the weather stirs more fiercely. A warm front, like a gentle tide, slides over cooler air, bringing layered clouds and long, steady rain. A cold front, sharper and swifter, pushes under warm air, forcing it upward to form tall clouds and sudden storms. Lightning flashes, a brief and powerful balancing of electric charge between cloud and ground. Thunder follows, the sound of air expanding suddenly in the lightning's heat. Even these dramatic moments are part of balance. The earth does not seek stillness, but a constant shifting toward harmony, a never-ending rearrangement of heat, moisture, and air. There are patterns within patterns. Daily, the sun warms the land and sea, driving breezes by afternoon and calming them at night. Seasonally, the tilt of the earth shifts the belts of wind and rain across the globe. Over decades, centuries, and millennia, the climate itself breathes. In long, slow cycles. And here you are, feeling it all in small ways. The quickening in your step on a crisp, clear morning. The heaviness before rain. The relief of a cool breeze after heat. The drowsy calm of a gray, drizzling afternoon. Your body responds without thought because it is built of the same elements the weather moves. Your skin measures the air's warmth. Your lungs taste its moisture. Your heart adjusts to its pressure. Sometimes, lying in bed, you can hear the weather speak. The patter of rain against glass. The sigh of wind through leaves. The hush that follows a snowfall, when sound itself seems to rest. These are not just sounds outside. They are reminders that you are within something much larger. The same forces shaping the sky also shape you. The warmth of your skin is like the warmth of the land under sun. The moisture in your breath is like the invisible rivers flowing overhead. The currents in your blood are kin to the currents of air, that the weather has been shaping life on Earth for as long as life has existed. It guides where plants grow, where animals migrate, where people settle. It has carved valleys, spread fertile soil, and even carried seeds across oceans. Your ancestors watched the sky not just for beauty, but for survival. They learned to read the wind's direction, the weight of the air, the shape of clouds. They could feel in their bones when a storm was near, sense in their skin when the heat would break. Though you may no longer rely on such instincts to plant or harvest, part of that ancient awareness remains. You still look up to see if the day will hold sun or rain. You still feel a small, deep stirring when a sudden gust passes, a reminder that the world is alive and moving around you. The weather within you is constant, though it shifts as gently as the air outside. Your temperature rises and falls. Your fluids move like rivers between organs. Your breath draws in invisible gases and sends them out again, warmed and changed. Your heartbeat is like a private barometer, adjusting to the rise and fall of pressure around you. The boundaries between your body and the sky are more porous than they seem. Every breath you take was once part of another living thing, another cloud, another season. Every drop of water in you is older than mountains, having cycled through rain and river, ocean and air, countless times. If you lie quietly, you may begin to feel it, the shared pulse between you and the world. Your skin as a shoreline between the sea of your body and the sea of air. Your breath as a tide that moves with the tides of weather. The same physics that shapes a storm shapes the beat of your heart. The same sun that drives the wind's warms. The blood flowing through you. You are not watching the weather, you are participating in it, whether you mean to or not.